Hey guys, so the background's a bit different. I'm having a staycation actually, but I'm still filming videos. Subscribe with that bell, like, comment for engagement. I have a beauty channel now, a book channel, where I just posted my book tour, so that's exciting. That will all be in description, along with my podcast where I already have 2 episodes and another one is coming out on Tuesday. I've actually decided to change up the schedule a little bit. I'm still kind of working with it, but I feel like this will make a lot more sense. So I'm going to be doing every other day main channel uploads. I'll try. If not, there just won't be a video on that day. But looking at my calendar right now, so it should be Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays and Sundays would be a main channel video, or not, like just it's either there or it isn't. And then Tuesdays is podcast, Thursdays is beauty channel, Saturdays is book channel. So the podcast, beauty channel and book channel, once I stabilize them, they will be like for sure Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And then main channel can be anywhere on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, or all of the above. Like it just kind of depends. So it'll work this way from now on, and it kind of makes sense to me in my head. So that's where we're going with that. So today's video is actually very kindly sponsored by Adam and Eve, who have been sponsoring my channel for months now, and they're honestly one of the best brands to work with. So if you're going to support them, please do. That sentence made no sense. But anyway, go on adamandeve.com and use code Angelika for 50% off one item of free shipping to the US and Canada. Some exclusions apply. They've actually been in business for over 50 years. They have 24/7 customer service, hassle-free returns, discreet packaging, and 20% of all proceeds go towards fighting HIV around the world, which is just amazing because you get pleasure and other people get pleasure from being helped. So go on adamandeve.com and use code Angelika to get 50% off one item of free shipping to the US and Canada. Let's get into our favorite human being, Gabbie Hanna. I feel like there's just been a lot there to talk about, just in terms of just how she is managing her online presence. She has a lot of channels now. I feel like over the last year she's created so many channels that it's actually difficult to like know all of them. Like I don't actually know how many she has altogether. It's so difficult to find them. They're not all kind of large sub counts, so they don't come up immediately when you look them up. They're not all her name either, so it's very difficult to once again look them all up. But the ones that she actually kind of has now, she has her ASMR channel. She was supposed to have a podcast with Farrah Abrams from Teen Mom, but that fell through with no explanation. They've posted an announcement video being like, hey, we're starting a podcast. Farrah then gets arrested for assault when she was out clubbing, and then it just doesn't happen. There's no explanation, nothing about, you know, where's this podcast, is it still happening? No. She has a main channel where she does her own podcast now. She has a few episodes of that already. I tried to listen to a few of them. They're mainly just like not podcast episodes, they're more so just like live streams and streams of thought, I guess you could say. And then she has secondary channels for vlogs. So she has a lot of these little channels where she'll do random like vlogs, but she quickly abandons those. So she'll post a few videos, get very excited about it, and then just abandon it. And this all obviously comes after the downfall of the series that she had. So if you guys obviously aren't aware, Gabbie Hanna was supposed to post a 13-part series exposing everyone that's ever done her wrong, but she stopped after a few episodes because every time she exposed someone, they exposed her right back, and then all of their friends exposed her right back. So she had a Trisha Paytas episode, which I believe is probably the most successful one other than the Rice Gum one. I feel like the Rice Gum one and the Trisha Paytas one are the ones that are actually successful, but no one ever really, okay, with Trisha Paytas, I feel like a lot of people have very mixed reactions. Some people are on Trisha's side, some people are on Gabbie's side. I feel like with Rice Gum, there were not a lot of commentary / drama channels that were actually on Rice Gum's side. So that didn't really make sense, because she made it sound like everyone was on Rice Gum's side, and I don't think that was the case. I think the LA crew and the people that were hanging out with Rice Gum and clout chase off of him, they were on his side. But drama channels and commentary channels that had nothing to gain off Rice Gum were not on Rice Gum's side. But anyway, those are the 2 successful, I believe, episodes. And then we went into like, you know, Escape the Night, which she did 2 seasons of Escape the Night, and then it got exposed by everyone on set for being just awful to work with, you know, calling women the C word, calling women different things, being just very difficult to work with, demanding but not really providing. Sorry about the light changes. I'm actually doing in front of a window, and I used to film all my videos like this in front of a window instead of in front of a ring light, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I feel like it adds a natural ambiance to the video. Let me know what you think. Apparently awful to work with, and just overall just not a nice person. And then we had a video about Jessie Smiles, and then we had another video, and then those were all coming after Jessie Smiles had exposed Gabbie on multiple occasions. And I thought that video about Jessie Smiles and the one preceding that was disgusting and just in such poor taste. So obviously after that, Gabbie Hanna can either choose to leave the platform, which she's trying to be a musician, she's trying to be an artist, she's not going to leave the platform. She could have taken everything back and apologized and then tried to restart her reputation, which she should have done a year ago, and then she should have done 2 years ago, and she should have done 3 years ago, but she still hasn't. And I just didn't really expect that from her. But she could have turned, you know, everyone's expectations around and just apologized and started again, but she didn't. Or she could just keep on doing things for attention and doing just really weird things for attention, which is the point we're at now with Gabbie Hanna. So she actually did a new podcast episode that I watched. It's called You'll Have to Forgive Me. And I thought, oh, maybe we're getting an apology here. No, there was some tech issues, and it was basically just a clickbait tag, which fair enough, like clickbait is clickbait. We got to do what we got to do. But I was expecting maybe like a little bit of like an apology podcast or something. Not even to me. I don't care if I get an apology from Gabbie Hanna, but maybe just to other people that she has wronged. But no, this was just like, I'm sorry for the tech issues on the podcast, essentially. So in that podcast episode, she talks about how she gets very emotional during videos sometimes when she talks about different things. Because of that, she just doesn't really like editing videos anymore, which, yes, it's very difficult to film an emotional video and then edit it and then post it and be very vulnerable, but you can either just not post emotional videos if that's something that's very difficult for you, or just get an editor or get someone, you know, to do that for you. But editing is part of the job. Like, you can't complain about a huge part of the job when that's literally what YouTube is about. It's about filming and editing videos. There's another video called I'm a Psychic Medium, and her new song is called I Sold My Soul, which is a new song and her new social media branding. She's got that on Twitter and on a few different platforms. She's called I Sold My Soul. Now, she also has an obsession with the number 2, and she keeps on posting whenever she gets like any variation of the number 2 in likes or comments or notes, and she keeps on posting that over and over again on her Twitter, which some people think is weird, some people think is, you know, forcing some kind of spirituality that isn't there. Then we have her obviously trying to write music for Britney Spears and Snoop Dogg. Now, some people thought, you know, the Snoop Dogg one is funny, whatever, you know, Gabbie Hanna likes smoking, so does Snoop Dogg, whatever, like maybe that was a cool thing that she thought was going to work. But some people do believe that using Britney Spears as a vessel to propel your career is in poor taste, all things considered, because Britney Spears has been so used in the last decade, and just now coming out of her conservatorship, you know, she's vulnerable, she's still going through things, she's still trying to figure herself out. I don't think she's making music right now, and if she is, that's on her own terms for the first time in a decade. And some people thought it was just some people just thought it was very in poor taste to try and capitalize on Britney Spears' vulnerability right now, to be like, hey, let me write you a song, just in the hopes that Britney would see it and, I don't know, give Gabbie some promo. I don't know, just off the back of the controversy of the conservatorship, I just think Britney Spears should be left alone. Because I had the same issue with Jeffree Star doing it, almost capitalizing on the fact that Britney Spears was in a conservatorship and doesn't know what's going on the internet, rightfully so. She doesn't need to be in the know about the drama. I just thought it was in poor taste for Jeffree Star to get involved with her, and I think it's in poor taste to also have Gabbie Hanna get involved with her, successfully or unsuccessfully so. And I just saw the same opinions kind of floating around the internet, but some people just thought it was cringy. That's it. Some people just thought it was cringy that she would even think that Snoop Dogg and Britney Spears would see it. I don't really care if it's cringy or not in that sense. I just think it just seems a bit poor taste, all things considered, what Britney has been going through. Then we have attention-grabbing TikToks, you know, the screaming, the shouting, the typical stuff. Then we have her most recent controversy, which is the depression advice on TikTok. This one has mixed reactions, but mainly negative. But I'm sure there are some people that thought it was very useful. So, you know, just to each of their own, you let me know what you guys think. As someone who suffers mental health issues, I did think it was a bit tone deaf, but that's my own personal opinion. She basically did a TikTok. I'm going to post these for you guys, obviously. And she talked about how anytime you want to kill yourself, essentially, think about how many things you still haven't done. And like how killing yourself would stop you from doing those things. And like, if stopping suicide was that easy, we wouldn't have suicides. Like, I just feel like it is so simple to just be like, well, if you want to kill yourself, think about the fact that you've never been skiing.
Listen up! This advice is about to change your life! I have the ick. This tip is not just for overcoming depression. This is gonna get you excited to wake up every day. It's 10:30, I just got up. Neither here nor there! You gotta get a hobby. Bitch, better get a hobby. A lot of them, just one at a time. But in your head, if you have so many hobbies that you're excited about, do you ever scroll TikTok and go, I want to do that? I just saw a guy make a rug. He just made it. That's awesome. He just has like a little rug studio. I think it was in his house. I want to set up a little rug making studio in my house. That is sick. I want to write murder mystery novels because I'm really, really paranoid. And the scenarios that I come up with in my brain are bestsellers. Timeless classics. How can I possibly be sad when I haven't even started my Nancy Drew era yet? How can I be sad when I've never made a rug yet? I haven't started crafting jewelry yet. Sure as have not tried any water sports, and I sure as never will, but you might want to. You're sitting there depressed. You've never gotten on a jet ski and you want to? You got nothing to live for? You've never jumped out of a plane? I'm not gonna do it. You might want to do that though. You're sitting here like, I don't want to live, and you want to parasail and you've never go parasail! I think I'm not gonna be a gourmet chef. I got a lifetime left of hobbies. Get you a hobby. You'll never be sad again.
Also, all things considered, skiing is very expensive, and a lot of people that commit suicide could be struggling with financial issues. If they can't afford therapy, they also can't afford skiing. And I'm sure if they had the money and the resources, skiing wouldn't be on their top list. It would be therapy. I just think it comes with a lot of privilege to be able to say, you know, don't kill yourself because you still haven't made a rug. People are struggling financially. People are not making ends meet. Healthcare is what it is in the States. People are struggling to pay off medical bills. People can't afford therapy. People can't afford to even have their mental health, you know, worked on by a professional, let alone doing all these very expensive hobbies that Gabbie Hanna can just start and drop whenever she feels like it. You know, not everyone can just make a rug, like just decide to make a rug one day, because making rugs is very expensive and you need the space. You know, she even brought up an example of a guy that's created a studio in his house just for rug making. Do you know how expensive it is? You either need a bunch of like huge rooms in your house to be able to do that, or you need an extra spare room. Some people can't even afford rent for the bare minimum that they are living in. So some people thought it was just very tone deaf to use picking up new hobbies as a way of solving depression and suicide. People thought it was just very weird, and I think it's very weird as well, because I feel like financial issues are a huge contributor to, you know, suicidal thoughts, because when you feel like you can't afford the basics, you know, food, hygiene, therapy, medication, I'm sure the last thing on your mind is whether you're going to go skiing or not, because skiing is very privileged. Doing a bunch of different hobbies is very privileged. Being able to just self-care your mental health away is a very privileged mindset to have. It's a very privileged position to be in. And then she posted another one where she was writing to a comment of someone saying, well, when people are disabled as well, on top of that, and they're struggling with mental health issues due to their disabilities, mainly, you know, let's say if the disability is physical, they can't do a lot of the things that you're suggesting that they do to fix their mental health. And then she said that that comment was then ableist because you're assuming that disabled people can't do certain things.
I'm choosing to respond to this comment instead of one of the comments saying that I'm privileged for telling people to raise their quality of life, that they should pick up a hobby or follow their passions. Because exactly this. First of all, you don't have to have money to have a hobby. A lot of hobbies don't require a lot up front. A lot of supplies are really cheap. Pencils, pens, and paper are cheap. Paint, like literally $1 a bottle paint. That's what I still paint with now. There's a ton of you can find at thrift stores, discount stores. You can thrift flip, or if you really can't afford anything, you can find something that costs literally $0. That's the beauty of creativity. Now, when it comes to people saying, well, I have a job, I don't have time for that, you're commenting on TikTok. Get it together. Stop making excuses for your miserable lifestyle and create a good lifestyle. The whole point of life is to enjoy it. If you choose to spend your spare time scrolling on TikTok, commenting on other people's life when they're giving you advice to live the life that you want to live, which is apparently I don't work and I have unlimited time and funds to do all my hobbies. Okay, do you want that life? Then follow my advice. Rule 1 is following your passion and making the first step. Rule 2 is get your ass off of TikTok in your spare time, or don't. That's perfectly fine. Because guess what? Scrolling TikTok is a perfectly acceptable hobby. But don't get mad at somebody else for trying to encourage you to follow your dreams because you don't have the balls or drive to do it. You know how many years I went without watching TV? I just started using TikTok again recently. What the do you think I've been doing for the past year? I think I've been doing nothing in my house for a year while I wasn't posting TikToks or YouTube videos? No, I was working on the I'm passionate about. I gave up the thing that wasn't fulfilling me and I worked on the that is. And now I'm back because now I can find the healthy balance and now I get to share those things with you guys. So for everybody hurt in the comments of my video trying to inspire you to pick up a hobby, don't pick up a hobby. Don't take my advice. you don't have time for a hobby, but you would rather spend your time on TikTok and leaving comments on TikTok, do you. That's a you problem. Don't call me privileged because I worked my up from ground zero to be able to make a lifestyle out of my hobby.
Hey guys, I'm editing this video now, and I just wanted to add a few extra things. This whole like get up and go, get up and move, you know, I've already discussed how problematic that is. But two, this whole like, well, there are a lot of hobbies that are cheap. Like you can buy paint $1 a bottle. You showed a pretty small bottle there, because we all know that paint is very expensive. Even the cheap kind is very expensive. I remember that because I used to be more artsy and supplies were very expensive. When you say $1 a bottle, I mean, are you just going to paint with one bottle, or are we going to just use one color? Like what's going on? You need at least a few. Even if you're going to be mixing colors, you still need a few. They run out very quickly if you're like really into it. So canvases, papers, you can't just use regular paper with paint. Canvases are very expensive. Even if you're trying to DIY it somehow, very expensive, very time consuming. People just don't have time for it because they're working jobs. Two, in your initial video, you were talking about jet skiing. I remember when I went on holiday and they were doing like 30 minutes of jet skiing for 150 euros. First of all, I don't even live near water. So if I wanted to go jet ski, I would have to go near water, and then it's very expensive. Two, you also said, like, not bungee jumping, what's the other one? Parachuting? Hi, Phoebe. That's very expensive, as far as I remember it being. So it's a weird jump from before you were called out to after you were called out, because before you were called out, you were saying go parachute and jet ski. And in your second one, you're like, well, you can buy paint for $1 a bottle. Very different vibes from video 1 to video 2. I feel like it's slight backpedaling, but not really. You're still almost sticking with your point, but not quite. Also, I wanted to talk about the fact that I just noticed this, but pre all of her more controversial TikToks these days, or like the attention-seeking ones, which, look, nothing wrong with being an attention seeker on the internet. Everyone's attention-seeking, but I'm just pointing out a fact. Pre making it a hobby right now to piss people off, her views on TikTok were in the ranges of 50,000, which, fair enough, but, you know, after all of her controversial TikToks, aka, you know, the Britney Spears one, the Snoop Dogg one, the stand up and stop having depression one, after those, all of her TikToks are on 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, a million. It just seems to show me that every single time Gabbie Hanna says, I will not do these things for attention, I don't piss people off for attention, I don't want this attention, she notices how irrelevant she becomes and then does everything in her power to piss people off to get more temporary attention. And then once it crosses a certain threshold where she pisses off a lot of people, she will start crying on live again, being like, I didn't want this attention, why is this attention given to me? I'm just seeing the same pattern happen again and again, and I'm seeing it with a new generation of young TikTokers, and I'm hoping they're not falling for her drama. So I'm hoping that they're going to go back and watch amazing videos on Gabbie Hanna, such as the Cruel World Happy Mind one. I think she did a great breakdown. I see so many breakdowns of Gabbie Hanna's whole career, and I'm hoping that the young generation watch those videos and reconsiders giving her attention, because we're just going to have the same behavior on loop. And I'm sick of it! Sick of it! That's it. There's just a lot to unpack there, and I feel like Gabbie Hanna is now coming from a very privileged point of view of like, well, I fix my mental health, so I think everyone should be able to. But Gabbie Hanna's also made a lot of money from YouTube, which has in turn made it very easy for her to not struggle financially and pay a therapist and pay, you know, different things, and then start all of these hobbies that make her happy. I think it's a very privileged mindset to have. People are very upset. There were so many comments on those TikToks just being like, this is such a privileged mindset. Not everyone can just pick up hobbies whenever they feel like it. So, you know, people are basically just saying she is still trying to propel her artist career, you know, her music, her paintings. So she still has to stay on the internet to promote all of that. But at the same time, while she is trying to promote all of that, she's still getting herself into trouble because she just keeps on saying things out of pocket. And it's just not helping her case. I feel like, I don't know what it is about Gabbie Hanna and just saying things that don't make her look good. But yeah, I don't know what the best outcome for her would be, because this definitely brings her a lot of attention, and I feel like that's why she does it. She says and does things that she knows get her a lot of attention, and that will then make people want to listen to her music. But at this point, I don't even think people are there for her music. Like, she's not even hated to the point where people are intrigued in her. She's just hated where, like, if she comes up on people's For You page, they'll react to her, but they won't actually go on her page, and they won't actually like interact with her content other than like the core audience that she has. She's gone so far beyond like any publicity is good publicity. I feel like at this point it's just kind of like, oh, Gabbie Hanna's done a thing again. Okay, let's just... Because there are so many people on the internet that have used bad publicity to their advantage, and I feel like Gabbie Hanna's just not one of those people. If you are suffering from mental health issues and you have resolved it in some way or you haven't, let me know what you guys think about Gabbie Hanna's advice on fixing your mental health issues. Because personally, I just don't think when I'm really going through a crisis mental health wise, thinking about like starting a new hobby is what brings me joy. I'm just like, I need a therapist, not skiing. You know, I just feel like, yeah, starting a new hobby can be a nice distraction, but I feel like once you're so far gone that you're considering ending your life, I don't think thinking about skiing and tennis is what's going to bring you back. In most cases, of course, that's generalizing once again, but yeah, I just feel like there are so many different cases for mental health that to just generalize it to start a new hobby is very privileged. There were some comments that I was going to read for you guys, where someone said, this idea of just getting up and doing what you want is kind of ableist, to be honest. Not everyone has the mental or physical ability to follow their dreams. She's so out of touch and helps no one. And then Gabbie Hanna says, you're out of touch, in my opinion. Someone said giving Kim K. Obviously, recently Kim Kardashian did that. Just get up and work, which is so easy when you're born into a millionaire family. And Gabbie Hanna said, I got my up and worked. Someone said, it's a good sentiment, but there's a disconnect in how you're communicating it. Definitely. She said, and people can take that advice or don't. I'm a direct, intense person. I'm not malicious or mean. Some people need tough love, some people don't. I'm tough love. Someone said, shouldn't talk about privileged unless you really understand it. I just hear rambling. Someone said, on the internet, on your cell phone, talking about privilege, you got me. Just because someone has a phone and an internet connection doesn't mean they're not living paycheck to paycheck. That is such a privileged outlook on life. People in 2022, people need a phone. A lot of jobs only take online applications, actually. So when people say things like, oh, why don't homeless people just get up and find a job? Well, because they need a bank account, and to have a bank account they need an address, and they're homeless so they don't have an address, and they need a phone to go on their online banking, to do a lot of things in banks right now are not done directly. These days people need phones and internet connections to live life. Yeah, to have a job, to communicate with their boss. You need a phone number to put down on your job application so they can call you. Also, you don't know what phone she has. She could have literally bought a secondhand phone from somewhere just so she can do the basics of finding a job and having a job. You cannot assume how privileged or unprivileged someone is through a comment. We see your whole lifestyle. We see the house that you live in, we see the stuff that you have, we see the views that you have, and we can judge how much money you make. You see this one comment. It's not that easy. You were very lucky when you found success on your path, but it doesn't happen for everyone. That's very true. You made videos on Vine. People are out here getting degrees and jobs. What if you're not interested in any hobbies? I've tried so many and have no enjoyment. That's another thing. I feel like people that struggle with mental health issues, once it gets to a certain point, nothing brings you enjoyment. Just getting out of bed is a struggle. Like, I feel like just get up and be happy. It sounds very much like people that just downplay depression as like, just be happy. Just get out of bed. Why are you still in bed? Why are you sad? There are definitely steps before getting a hobby. I feel like if everyone had equal access to therapy, this could be great advice, but they don't. So it's just a bit like, just be happy. Why are you sad? Someone said, you had me, then you lost me. Someone said, oh, so I can be sad about not being able to afford the hobby instead. And she said, that's fact. I started with and still use very cheap paint. Beginner supplies usually aren't too bad. Lots of hobbies like sketching. I have to work all day every day so I can live. I'm glad you have time for these things though. I wish I did. It kind of has the same tone to it as the, oh my god, what's it called? The it girl aesthetic, where you like spend all day just self-caring, and apparently people are supposed to just do that when they have 9-to-5s. Like, oh, let me make myself a smoothie bowl while I put on a face mask, and then I'll do Pilates and yoga, and then I'll make myself a cold brew, and then I'll go on a walk. And then it's like, where do people fit a 9-to-5 into that? It gives the same vibes of like, just do lots of hobbies. Well, some people have jobs and then they're just too tired for the hobby because they come back in the evening and just want to go to sleep so they can afford just living. Someone said, would love to get a hobby, but unfortunately I've got bills to pay and have to work 16 hours a day. Damn sis, you got time to watch and comment on TikToks, but you can't learn an instrument or how to knit. That's a choice, my friend. Am I the only one that's seeing just the crazy amount of privilege here and just like the condescending tone when you're literally a YouTuber / Viner sitting in your house working a flexible schedule so you're able to pick up knitting and stuff? But some people actually work really long shifts and do not have the energy to pick up a new instrument or just knitting. Yeah, also instruments are very expensive. She is so out of touch with reality. I agree. Someone said, girl, chill. Girl, you've got time and money. We're not the same. Baby, I got to go to work. And she said, you've got time for TikTok. Don't tell people how to use their time. Maybe this TikTok is like their one outlet during the day where they can just switch off. Someone said this would be amazing advice if everyone had unlimited funds to do these fun things. And she said, you don't need unlimited funds to get a hobby. Someone said, I have a job. She said, me too, since I was 13, always had hobbies. Stop limiting yourself. There are jobs and then there are jobs. Like, you can't compare certain jobs because the time schedules are so different. Someone said, this is a little out of touch, girl. I know relatability is kind of your thing, so something to consider. And she said, it's only out of touch if you think I started where I am and forget I got where I am from. I think what she's saying is like she wasn't always this rich and she always had hobbies, which fair enough, but that's not the case for everyone. People have such different situations. So anyway, I was a bit infuriated just watching those TikToks and just reading those comments. I was a bit like, why are you doubling down on your privilege mindset? Anyway, subscribe with that bell, like, comment for engagement. I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.